Hello everyone and welcome back once again. This is your EVS teacher here, and this time I'm here with the second chapter of grade 5th environmental studies, that is a snake charmer's story. So let's start. Students, before going through the chapter, it is necessary for all of you to understand that what is the meaning of snake charmer. Students, a snake charmer is a person who entertains people by controlling the behavior of a snake. A snake charmer charms or appears to charm snakes by playing music and by rhythmic body movements. As you see here, this is the instrument that is used by the snake charmers to charm the snake, that basically known as a bean. Students, I hope you all have seen snake charmers in many movies and even TV serials too. And have you ever wondered how these people can control the snakes and how they make the snakes to dance? Do snakes hear the music of bean? Don't they scared to touch the snake? Students, you all will get answers of all of your questions from the story of Aaryan. Aaryan is a young boy of your age and he is also a snake charmer, and he is going to tell you his story. Aaryan says, I can do something special which I'm sure none of you can do. Or do you know what? I can play the bean. You must be surprised by playing the bean. I have learned this art from my family members. We peoples are known as Kalbeliyas. Students, so what do you think of Aaryan? Is he familiar to you? Or have you met someone like him for the first time? Well, he is a snake charmer. He is very famous for playing his bean and making this snake dance. Like he said, that he learned this art from his father and grandfather. This suggests that what he is doing is his family occupations, and the people of the community as Kalbeliyas. Students, Kalbeliyas are those peoples who makes the snakes to dance on the charms of a bean. Further, Aaryan says that my grandfather Roshan Nath ji was famous amongst our people. He could easily catch many poisonous snakes. He tells me many stories about his past. Come, listen to his story in his own words. Students, now Aaryan said that his grandfather Roshan Nath ji was very famous among his community. And why he was famous among his community? Because Roshan Nath ji could easily catch many poisonous snakes, and he often told Aaryan many stories about his past. Now, students, Aaryan inviting all of you to come listen to his grandfather's story in his grandfather's word. Dadaji remembers. From the time of my grandfather and great-grandfather, we have always been saperas, snake charmers. Snakes have been an important part of our life. We used to move from village to village carrying our snakes in bamboo baskets. Students, like Aaryan said before, that his family is engaged in the sapera, who were also known as snake charmers occupation. They are very hardworking people. To entertain new people, they have to move from different locations. As you have seen them, you can notice that they carry their snakes in a bamboo baskets. Further, Aaryan's grandfather said that whenever we stopped in a village, a crowd would gather around us. We would then take out our snakes from our basket. Even after the show, people would stay on. They knew that in our tin box, there were many types of medicines for them. We made these medicines from plants collected from the forests. I had learned all this from my grandfather. I felt nice that I could help people with my medicines even if doctors and hospitals were far off. In return, people would give us some money or food grains. In this way, we could manage our life. Now, Aaryan's grandfather said that their outfit and their baskets are very famous. As soon as people see them, they gather around them. Then they play their bean and make the snake dance. After amusing the crowd gives them money or food grains. Some stay as they know that the saperas can cure illness of medicines of forest. He credit his grandfather for the knowledge he has got and how in this way they managed their life. Further, Aaryan said that Aaryan was called to help those people who have been bitten by a snake. People trust in his abilities. He is so experienced with this that he can understand which snake bit the person just by looking at the mark. Then he would give the proper medicines for that. Further, Aaryan said that after all, catching a snake was something I had been doing since my childhood. Oh, those were the good days. We could help a lot of people in many ways. We also entertained them. It was not like today when everyone watches TV for entertainment. When I grew older, my father taught me how to remove their poisonous teeth, fangs. He also taught me how to close the tube of poisons in the snake's mouth. Further, Aaryan said that he was catching a snake from since his childhood and he missed his old days when there were no TVs and people would love to see him entertain them. Now everyone is busy watching TV. He further said that when he was a child and when he grew up, his father taught him how to remove the poisonous teeth of a snake, that's basically known as fangs, and he also taught him how to close the tube of poison in the snake's mouth. Students, as you can see here are some questions. You have to write down the answers of these questions in your textbook. The first question is, have you ever seen anyone playing a bean? Where? In this question, you have to answer if you ever seen anyone playing a bean, then you have to write down yes, and you also have to mention the place where you saw the person. If you never seen anyone playing a bean, then you have to just write down no. Next question, have you ever seen a snake? Where? Students, if you ever seen a snake, you have to write down yes, and you also have to mention the place where you saw the snake. Now the third question is, were you scared by it? Why? Now in this question, students, you have to answer if you ever seen a snake, and if you're scared by it, then you have to write down here why you were scared by the snake. Next question, do you think all snakes are poisonous? Students, you have to write down here, no, I don't think so. Because there are different kind of snakes are found in India. Some of them are poisonous, whereas some of them are non-poisonous. Next, in chapter number 1, you read that snakes don't have ears, which you can see. Can the snake hear the bean, or does it dance when the bean moves? What do you think? Students, as in your chapter number 1, you already learned that snakes don't have any external ears. They just feel the vibration of the ground, and by the vibration they react. So the question is, if snakes don't have any ear, then how they hear the bean, or how they react when the snake charmer move its bean? Students, snakes cannot hear the bean. They dance when the bean moves. Now moving on towards the next slide. Students, now moving on towards the story. Arena, your father used to travel with me ever since he was a young child. He learned to play the bean without being taught. These days, it is difficult. Now the government has made a law that no one can catch wild animals and keep them. Some people kill the animals and sell their skins at high prices. So they made a law against this. Now, with this law, how will we earn our livelihood? We people have never killed snakes and sold their skin. People say that we keep the snakes in bad conditions. Students, now here Aryanath's grandfather told to Aryanath that Aryanath's father used to travel with Aryanath's grandfather since his father was a child, and his father learned to play the bean by himself. His grandfathers never taught his father how to play the bean. Further, his grandfather said that nowadays it has become very difficult for them to perform the shows because now the government has made many laws by which no one can catch wild animals and keep them because some bad people kill the animals illegally and sell their skin at high prices. That's why, to stop the illegal killing of wild animals, government has made many laws. Now Aryanath's grandfather is very disappointed because, as he said, that now government has banned the catching and keeping of snakes. Further, his grandfather told him that they never killed any snake and sold their skin, but due to the deeds of some bad people, they also have to suffer. Many people used to blame them that they keep snakes in bad conditions. If we wanted, we too could have earned a lot of money by killing snakes, but we would never do that. Snakes are our treasures that we pass on from one generation to another. We even gift snakes to our daughters when they get married. In our Kalbeliya dance, we also have movement similar to the dance of the snake. Aryanath, you will have to make a different life for yourself. You have got your father's gift of playing the bean. You and your cousins can form a bean party and entertain people. But do not waste this knowledge about snakes you have got from your elders. Students, now his grandfather told him that if they wanted, they too could have earned a lot of money by killing and selling the skin of snakes. But they never wanted to do so because they treat snakes as their treasure that they pass on their future generations, and even they gift snakes to their daughters at the time of their marriage. He also said that they do Kalbeliya dance. Students, now the question is, what is Kalbeliya dance? What type of dance it is? Students, it is a type of dance in which movements are similar to that of the snake's dance, which you commonly known as Nagin dance. Now, Aryanath's grandfather told him that now after so many laws, his life is changed. Now, he and his cousins can entertain people not by snake shows. In fact, instead of that, they can form a bean party and entertain people by playing bean, tumba, khanjari and dhol. Here, the four musical instruments which I mentioned here, except dhol, out of the four, the three instruments, that is bean, tumba, khanjari, are made from the dried gourd or lonki. Students, these instruments I will show you in the next slide. And lastly, he elucidated him that he shouldn't waste his knowledge about snakes that he got from his elders. Students, these are the musical instruments that I mentioned in earlier slides. The first one, as you can see here, is a bean. The second one is tumba. Students, this is a modern instrument, or it is a modern modified form of tumba. That time the same was made from the dry gourd. Third one is dholak and the fourth one is khanjari. Students, now here Aaryan's Dadaji told Aaryan to share his knowledge of snakes. Knowledge about snakes with children who live in town and cities. Tell them that they shouldn't be scared of snakes. Help them to recognize poisonous snakes. Tell them how snakes are friends of the farmers. They eat the rats in the field, otherwise rats would eat the crops. Now you tell our story. Also make a new story of your life to tell your grandchildren. Students, after the government banning the keeping of snakes, Aaryan says that he wants to pass on the precious knowledge about snakes that he learned from his elders to you. He wants you to learn between poisonous and non-poisonous snake and help in stopping the killing of snakes, as they maintain balance in nature by eating rats and mice in farms and save the crops. Now, student, as you can see here, this is the Kalbeliya dance form that basically these snake charmer people performs to entertain people. Students, now here are some questions for you, and again you have to write down the answer of these questions only in your NCERT textbook. The first question is, have you ever seen animals being used for entertainment of people? For example, in a circus, on the road, or in a park. When and where did you see this? Students, if you ever seen animals used for entertainment anywhere, like in a circus, on the road, or in a park, if you ever seen, then you have to write down yes, and you have to mention the time and the place. When and where did you see this? Students, I am giving you answer also. You can add more on this. I am giving you answer just for your suggestion or as a hint. Yes, many animals are being used for entertainment of people. I saw them at circus, parks, and on the roadsides. I hope you got it. Next, which animal show did you see? I am repeating here again that I am just giving you a suggestion or a hint. You can modify your answer or you can add more on it. I saw a snake dancing to the snake charmer bean on a roadside. Next question is, how did people behave with the animals in the show? People behaved warmly with animals at the show. Listen your answer again. People behaved warmly with animals at the show. Next question, was anyone teasing the animals? How? Yes, some of them were calling out the animals towards them at the zoo. Listen again. Yes, some of them were calling out the animals towards them at the zoo. Next, what kind of questions came to your mind after seeing that animal show? Students, here I am giving the questions according to my mind. You can change it and write according to your own. Few questions are raised in my mind after seeing the animal show, such as, is the animal trained well enough? How carefully are they handled? How did they capture the animals from the forest? Is it so necessary to give stress for the animals to entertain people? Students, listen again. Is the animal trained well enough? How carefully are they handled? How did they capture the animals from the forest? Is it so necessary to give stress for the animals to entertain people? Now moving on towards the next slide. Students, now in this section, you have to complete the following sentences by imagining yourself that you are an animal and you are kept in a cage. Means you have to think about the animal that we kept in a cage, how they feel, how they react, everything. Students, again, I am here completing the sentences and giving you just as a hint. You can modify this answer or you can completely change it and write in your own word also. I am afraid when my trainer beats me if I do anything wrong. This answer is according to me. You can change it. Next, I wish I was left free from this cage. I'm sad when I'm locked up in the cage for long hours. If I had a chance, I would escape from these people and go back to the forest. I do not like it at all when people tease or irritate me. Now moving on towards the next line. Students, do you know that there are different kind of snakes found in our country, but there are only 4 kind of snakes that are very poisonous or very dangerous for us. They are, as you can see here, number 1, cobra, that is very poisonous in nature. Next one, common karait, here. Next one, Russell viper, it is also known as boa, and the 4th one is saw-scaled viper, and it is also known as afai. Students, a snake has 2 hollow teeth, that is also known as fangs. When a snake bites, the poison enters the person's body through the fangs, and there is a medicine also available in all government hospitals for snake bites, and that medicine is made from the snake poisons. Students, these are the fangs that I mentioned in the earlier slides. These are the fangs of a snake through which the snake bites the person, and through it the poison enters the person's body. Students, now here is another question, that is, like snake charmers, which other people depend on animals for their livelihood? Students, in these questions you have to write down the other professions in which animals used by people for their livelihood. I'm giving you an answer here. Again, I'm telling you that it's just a suggestion or as a hint for you. You can completely change the answer by writing in your own words. Now listen your answer. Like snake charmers, fisherman, poultry farmer, milkman, tongawala, etc. depend on animals for their livelihood. Students, now here is a survey that you have to do. In this, you have to talk to some people in your neighborhood who keep 1 or more animals for their livelihood. For example, horse, a tonga, hens for eggs. And then after doing this survey, you have to answer given questions here. As you can see here, the question is, name the animal they keep. After talk to your neighborhood, you have to write down the name of the animal that they keep. Next, you have to write down how many animals your neighborhood keep. Is there a separate place for the animals? Means your neighbor kept the animals in a separate place or not? You have to write down here. Next question, who looks after them? In this, you have to write down the answer that your neighborhood looks after the animals by themselves or they appointed some special persons for them. What do the animals eat? What kind of animals they kept and what kind of food your neighborhood animal eat? You have to write down here. Do the animals ever fall ill? What does the keeper do then? You have to ask your neighbor that their animals ever fall ill. If yes, then what does your neighbor do then? Make some more questions and discuss, like in the same way you can ask more questions to your neighbor. And lastly, after asking all these questions, you have to make a report as a project. And then whenever your school will reopen, I will collect it from you. Students, now here is a funny activity that you have to do in your home. You have to take an old pair of socks and put one of your arms in this socks, as you can see here. In this way, you have to put one of your arms. Then you have to stick button or bindis, whatever available at your home for the eyes. Then cut out a long red strip of paper for using as the tongue and stick it in the place as shown in this figure. Now, as you can see here, on the other side of the paper, you have to make a V-shaped cut. And after this, your snake is completely ready. Now, moving on towards the last slide. Student, it is the last part of your chapter number 2, the snake charmer's story. Now, here is the question that what you have learned in overall your chapter or what you understand from this chapter. The question is, the government has made a law that no one can catch and keep snakes. Student, as I already said earlier in this chapter, the government has made many laws to avoid the illegal killing of wild animals. So, what do you think about this law? If you are in support this law, then you have to write, I support this law. If you don't think that this is right, then you have to write down, I don't support this law. But here, I am supporting this law. That's why I am giving here the answer in favor of it. As I said earlier also that this answer is just a suggestion or as a hint. You can change it completely or modify it by giving answer in your own words. So listen here. I support this law. Student, since many animals are made captive by killing its freedom, so no human has any right to take one's freedom. To earn a livelihood out of grabbing animals' freedom is completely wrong. So I completely support this law of not catching and keeping the animals captive. So students, here your chapter is finished. This is your chapter is all about. Now I will be come back soon with a new chapter. Till then, stay home, stay safe.